Welcome to Malice and Mystery, where shadows whisper and the unknown beckons. Enter a realm of spendingling horror, eerie mysteries, and chilling tales. From real-life paranormal encounters to unsolved enigmas and bone-chilling urban legends, we bring you the darkest stories from the depths of the unknown. Subscribe if you dare, and remember, some mysteries are best left unsolved. Unsolved cases of people who vanished mid-sentence. The mystery of the Whispering Woods. In the small, unassuming town of Willow Creek, nestled between rolling hills and dense forests, there exists a legend that has both captivated and terrified residents for generations. The locals speak in hushed tones about the Whispering Woods. It's an ancient forest that stands at the edge of town like a silent sentinel. For over a century, these woods have been the site of one of the most peculiar and unsettling mysteries known to modern history. A series of disappearances so bizarre that they defied all logical explanation. The phenomenon began in 1892, when Thomas Whitaker, a respected school teacher, vanished without a trace while leading his students on a nature walk through the woods. According to witnesses, Whitaker had been explaining the different types of moss growing on the trees when he suddenly stopped speaking mid-sentence. His students reported that his voice simply faded away, as if someone had turned down a volume dial. When they turned to look at him, he was gone. Not just from sight, but from existence itself. No footprints led away from where he stood. No signs of struggle marred the peaceful forest floor. And despite extensive searches by local authorities and volunteers, neither Whitaker nor any trace of him was ever found. This pattern would repeat itself with disturbing regularity throughout the 20th century. In 1923, Margaret Hensley, a local historian documenting the town's founding, disappeared while dictating notes about the early settlers' interactions with Native American tribes. Her assistant recalled her last words being, "and then the elders warned them," about before her voice evaporated into silence. The tape recorder she had been using captured nothing but static after that point. Similarly, in 1957, during a live radio broadcast from the edge of the woods, popular DJ Eddie Carmichael vanished while describing the sunset filtering through the trees. His microphone remained on air, transmitting only the sound of rustling leaves and distant bird calls. What makes these disappearances particularly perplexing is their consistency across different eras and technologies, whether documented through handwritten notes, audio recordings, or video footage. Each case follows the same inexplicable pattern. Individuals vanish precisely at the moment of speech, leaving behind no physical evidence of their presence. The woods themselves seem to absorb their victims, swallowing them whole without a sound or disturbance. Local authorities have conducted numerous investigations over the years, employing everything from bloodhounds to metal detectors, yet none have yielded any concrete results. The FBI's involvement in several high-profile cases during the 1960s and 1970s only added to the mystery, as even their advanced forensic techniques failed to uncover any clues. Some officers who worked on these cases reported experiencing strange phenomena themselves: equipment malfunctions, sudden memory lapses, and an overwhelming sense of being watched, though these accounts were often dismissed as stress-related or unreliable, despite numerous warnings posted at the forest's edge and strict regulations prohibiting entry after dusk. Curious visitors and researchers continue to venture into the Whispering Woods. Each year brings new reports of missing persons, each disappearance following the same eerie pattern established over a century ago. The town council maintains an official registry of cases, now numbering over 70 verified incidents, though many believe the actual count to be higher due to undocumented events from earlier decades. The persistence of this phenomenon has transformed Willow Creek from a simple rural community into a reluctant center for paranormal research. Scientists, journalists, and amateur investigators regularly descend upon the town, hoping to solve the mystery or capture definitive proof of supernatural activity. Yet, despite their efforts, the Whispering Woods continues to guard its secrets, maintaining an impenetrable veil of mystery around those who vanish within its borders. The case files. Among the dozens of documented disappearances, 3 cases stand out for their particularly chilling details and the profound impact they left on the community. The first occurred on October 14, 1978, when renowned wildlife photographer Sarah Bennett ventured into the Whispering Woods to capture images of the fall foliage. Accompanied by her assistant Mark Thompson and local guide Joseph Joey Ramirez, Bennett had spent the morning photographing various woodland creatures. At approximately 2:17 p.m., while explaining the technical aspects of her camera setup to Thompson, Bennett's voice abruptly cut off mid-sentence. According to Thompson's testimony, she had been saying the key is to adjust the aperture settings based on when her words dissolved into silence. Both men turned to find her position empty, her camera tripod still standing perfectly balanced, its strap swinging gently as if recently vacated. The subsequent investigation revealed several peculiar details. Bennett's camera, when recovered, contained images up to the moment of her disappearance. But the final frame showed something extraordinary, a perfect circle of distortion in the center of the image, as if reality itself had bent inward. More disturbingly, Thompson reported hearing a faint whispering sound immediately after Bennett's disappearance, though Ramirez claimed to have heard nothing unusual. Their conflicting accounts created significant tension during interviews, with Thompson eventually requiring psychological counseling for what he described as persistent auditory hallucinations. Perhaps the most well-documented case occurred on May 6, 1995, involving investigative journalist Emily Chen and her documentary crew. Armed with state-of-the-art recording equipment, Chen had been conducting a live interview with Dr. Harold Peterson, a physicist specializing in quantum mechanics, as they discussed potential scientific explanations for the disappearances. Chen asked Dr. Peterson, could these events be related to some form of dimensional before vanishing completely? The entire incident was captured on multiple cameras, including thermal imaging equipment that showed Chen's heat signature literally fading away over a period of 3 seconds. The aftermath of this disappearance proved equally bizarre. Reviewing the footage, technicians discovered that all electronic devices within a 10-foot radius of Chen had experienced brief power surges at the exact moment of her disappearance. More alarmingly, Dr. Peterson, who had been standing directly beside Chen, reported feeling an intense cold sensation moving through his body, followed by what he described as a fundamental shift in spatial awareness. Though physically unharmed, Peterson subsequently developed severe vertigo and sensitivity to electromagnetic fields, forcing him to abandon his academic career. The third notable case involved identical twin sisters Rachel and Rebecca Monroe, who disappeared separately but under remarkably similar circumstances in 2003 and 2005 respectively. Rachel, a botany student, vanished while cataloging plant species near the eastern boundary of the woods. Her field notes recovered later ended mid-word. The leaf structure suggests a hybridization between 2 years later. Her sister Rebecca, determined to solve Rachel's disappearance, entered the woods with GPS tracking equipment and a satellite phone. Witnesses reported hearing her last transmission. I think I'm close to where Rachel before the connection terminated. What made these cases particularly haunting was the discovery of Rebecca's tracking device exactly 2 years later, buried precisely where Rachel's field notes had been found, suggesting an impossible temporal link between the two events. Each of these cases contributed unique elements to the growing mystery. The Bennett disappearance introduced questions about visual anomalies and auditory phenomena. Chen's case provided scientific documentation of energy disturbances and physiological effects, while the Monroe twins' disappearances suggested possible patterns or connections between victims. Together, they formed a complex tapestry of evidence that defied conventional explanation. Drawing researchers from diverse fields, physics, psychology, anthropology, to Willow Creek in search of answers. The accumulation of these detailed case studies gradually transformed public perception of the Whispering Woods phenomenon. What had once been dismissed as local superstition evolved into a subject of serious academic inquiry, with institutions worldwide funding research projects dedicated to understanding the disappearances. The consistent patterns emerging from these cases, the mid-sentence cutoff, the lack of physical evidence, the associated environmental anomalies, pointed to something far more complex than mere coincidence or natural disaster. Theories and investigations. As disappearances increased, experts flocked to Willow Creek, each with their own theories and methods. Initially, the scientific community used conventional means, deploying geologists to examine soil composition and seismologists to monitor tectonic activity. They found subtle magnetic field fluctuations and trace elements in the soil unique to the area. However, these findings failed to explain the disappearances. Psychological researchers focused on survivors and witnesses, conducting extensive interviews and neurological assessments. Dr. Evelyn Martinez, a trauma response specialist, noted shared symptoms among witnesses: persistent anxiety, sleep disturbances, and detailed recall of the events. Brain imaging studies revealed unusual neural activity in the temporal lobes, suggesting intense sensory stimulus exposure. Attempts to recreate these effects in laboratory settings were unsuccessful. The physics community proposed controversial theories. Professor Jonathan Hayes from MIT suggested the Whispering Woods might be a quantum threshold where particles shift between dimensions. His team's particle accelerator experiments showed subatomic particles from the woods exhibited behavior consistent with quantum tunneling. Despite being groundbreaking, these findings remained theoretical without direct evidence linking them to the disappearances. Paranormal investigators used their own tools and beliefs. Mediums and psychics sensed powerful energies in specific locations, particularly near ancient stone formations. Their readings often aligned with previous disappearance sites, though skeptics noted these areas were heavily trafficked. Paranormal researchers using electromagnetic field detectors and infrared cameras captured anomalous readings correlating with historical disappearance points. A joint study between physicists and neuroscientists discovered that certain electromagnetic radiation frequencies in the woods could alter human consciousness temporarily. Subjects exposed to these frequencies reported experiences similar to those described by disappearance witnesses: disorientation, time dilation, and whispering voices. Anthropologists studied the oral traditions of indigenous peoples who inhabited the area before Europeans arrived. They uncovered legends of a veil between worlds guarded by spirits that occasionally claimed travelers. These stories included warning signs like changes in light patterns, temperature shifts, and distinctive animal behavior, matching contemporary witness accounts. An interdisciplinary team led by Dr. Marcus Chen combined scientific methods with indigenous knowledge, revealing correlations. Certain plant species flourished in high electromagnetic activity areas. Animals avoided these zones during specific lunar phases, and disappearance rates peaked during solar maximum periods. This suggested cosmic factors interacting with local environmental conditions might influence the phenomenon. No single theory fully accounted for the disappearances. The scientific community remained divided between physical explanations and unconventional possibilities. Practical implications of these investigations reshaped how authorities handled the phenomenon. Search and rescue protocols included electromagnetic monitoring equipment, and safety guidelines incorporated traditional warning signs from anthropological research. Today's investigations transformed Willow Creek into a hub of cutting-edge research. Universities established permanent field stations near the woods, and international conferences on threshold phenomena became annual events. Despite the sophisticated technology and rigorous methodology, the core mystery remained unsolved. People continued to vanish mid-sentence, leaving behind questions and the whispering woods that seemed to hold all the answers. Community impact and cultural significance. The persistent mystery of the Whispering Woods has profoundly transformed Willow Creek's identity. Local businesses offer mystery packages, and the annual festival has become the Whispering Woods Symposium, attracting thousands for workshops and discussions. Residents have developed coping mechanisms, with memory walls in homes and community support groups fostering strong communal bonds. Local artists gain national recognition for their haunting interpretations, creating a unique cultural economy with galleries and bookstores dedicated to the mystery. Education has adapted, with local schools and university programs incorporating the phenomenon into their curricula, producing a generation equipped to contribute to research efforts. The economic impact extends beyond tourism, with technology companies establishing research facilities, bringing employment and infrastructure development. The town council regulates research activities and tourist access to balance growth with respect for families of the disappeared. The phenomenon fosters a culture of vigilance and mutual care, reducing crime rates and strengthening neighborhood ties. The shared mystery creates collective resilience and sophisticated communication systems. The Whispering Woods influence broader cultural narratives, challenging assumptions about what can be known. Literary critics, philosophers, and theologians view it as a modern example of the sublime. Local historians document the reshaped storytelling practices, merging folklore with scientific documentation, informing both local and global understanding of the phenomenon. The ripple effect, the enigma of the Whispering Woods, has far-reaching effects on society and culture. Academically, it has birthed new fields like threshold studies and anomalous phenomena research, merging physics, anthropology, psychology, and philosophy. Major research institutions have incorporated Willow Creek anomalies into their quantum mechanics and consciousness studies, altering scientific approaches to reality and perception. The entertainment industry, inspired by the phenomenon, has produced numerous films, TV series, novels, and video games, exploring themes of disappearance and dimensional thresholds. This media attention creates a feedback loop, influencing public perception while drawing inspiration from ongoing investigations. Societally, the phenomenon has sparked discussions about human vulnerability and the limits of technology, fostering appreciation for mystery and uncertainty. It has influenced philosophical debates on free will and determinism, and religious communities view it through various spiritual lenses. The business world has developed safety equipment for areas with similar electromagnetic properties and insurance policies for anomalous zones. Legal frameworks now handle cases of mysterious disappearances in threshold phenomena regions. Law enforcement worldwide adopts Willow Creek's response protocols, recognizing some disappearances may involve unconventional factors, leading to increased cooperation among scientists, law enforcement, and paranormal investigators. The phenomenon impacts urban planning, with architects considering electromagnetic anomalies in designs for sensitive facilities. Environmental scientists study other areas for similar properties, identifying potential threshold zones for research. Cultural institutions create archives and museums dedicated to the Whispering Woods, elevating the status of such investigations and attracting funding and resources. Technological advances in electromagnetic field detection, consciousness monitoring, and dimensional analysis, initially aimed at investigating the Whispering Woods, find broader applications. Medical researchers study neurological conditions, and space agencies incorporate threshold detection systems into exploration equipment. This cross-pollination accelerates innovation across multiple sectors. Into the unknown. As dawn breaks over Willow Creek, casting golden light through the mist-shrouded trees of the Whispering Woods, the mystery remains unsolved. Despite decades of investigations and the convergence of scientific expertise, the phenomenon eludes explanation. Disappearances persist at an average rate of 3 to 4 per year, following the same baffling pattern since Thomas Whitaker S. vanishing in 1892, Advanced monitoring systems installed throughout the woods have captured countless terabytes of data, yet none conclusively explain what happens to those who vanish. Current research efforts have shifted toward experimental approaches. A multinational team has constructed an observation platform at the wood's edge, equipped with technology capable of detecting dimensional anomalies. Parallel efforts focus on mapping the wood's electromagnetic field variations in conjunction with celestial alignments, testing theories suggesting a cosmic component to the phenomenon. The town has evolved into a living laboratory, with residents participating in a comprehensive monitoring program. Researchers are exploring genetic factors that might make certain individuals more susceptible to the phenomenon. Having identified several families with high numbers of disappearances across generations, most promising is the emerging field of threshold resonance studies, investigating how human consciousness might interact with the wood's unique properties. Early results suggest that certain individuals exhibit markedly different brainwave patterns when exposed to these conditions, hinting at a biological component to the phenomenon. The fundamental question remains unanswered. What happens to those who vanish? Each hypothesis generates more questions than answers. The future of the investigation lies in synthesizing these approaches into a unified framework that accommodates both scientific rigor and the phenomenon's strangeness. As researchers continue their work, disappearances serve as crucial data points in humanity's quest to understand reality. The Whispering Woods remains a testament to the enduring power of mystery, inviting us to expand the boundaries of what we consider possible. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you found this video intriguing. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe and tap the notification bell to stay updated with more mysterious tales. Until next time, keep your curiosity alive and stay cautious.